What's up, everybody? Welcome, Move the Sticks. DJ Bucky here, and Bucky, you got a nice new article out on NFL.com. Got to be honest with you, I'm on vacation, staycation, didn't go anywhere, but was actually reading through this article. I thought, this is really interesting. I need to come into work so that we can do a video. But you did the 10 most talented teams heading into 2016. That's way too much work for me. So I thought maybe we just discuss the top 5. What do you think?
Yeah, we will. Now, I'm using the premise that we also use in meeting rooms in the league where we talk about blue chips and red chips and gold players. And so this was based primarily just off blue chip players. And by definition, blue chip players are guys that rank within the top 10 of their position overall the league. And my premise when I worked in Seattle and Carolina, we believed that you had to have at least 8 to 10 of those impact players to have a championship team. Now, they need to be surrounded by reds, meaning high-level starters, but those blue-chip players are guys that you can put in any team, any situation, they're going to make an immediate impact.
And for those that don't know, like in a pro college system, so a pro scouting system, when you're with a team, when I pull up a team on my computer I work for the Eagles, I pull up a pro team, and I can punch their depth chart up. It will give me their depth chart, and it'll have the colors coordinating their depth chart. So I can see who their blue chip players are, who their reds. I think purples was our ones behind that.
Yep.
But you could really get a feel for, okay, these are some of the most talented teams, and look at all the blue they've got on here.
Yeah, absolutely. When I left from Seattle to go to Carolina, the first thing I did, I looked at the depth chart, and I looked at the time in 2003. Man, look at all these guys they have on defense. That should give them an opportunity to get in the mix. And so that is something that front office people, scouts, and executives will use to determine where their team is in the mix and where they need to improve.
All right, no rookies were taken into account here with your ranking. Let's jump right in here. Let's work 5 to 1. You have the 5th most talented team entering 2016 season as a team from the NFC North.
That's right, the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings are a team that I believe is built to be a heavyweight champ. In terms of the way they play stylistically, the number of players that they have everything that you look for. On offense, it revolves around Adrian Peterson, being able to run the football, to grind it out, to set the table and allow him to do what he does well, run between the tackles and create big play opportunities for Teddy Bridgewater. Now, it's incumbent upon Teddy Bridgewater to take his game up a notch, but I believe they have everything on offense to allow him to do so. On defense, Harrison Smith, Anthony Barr, they're two guys that certainly allowed them to get it done. Young athletic defense. Mike Zimmer does a great job of putting those guys in position to make plays. With that defense combined with that offense and the physical style of play, I believe they now are a team that we can talk about being a legitimate Super Bowl contender.
And they've got dudes at all levels of their defense. That's one of the things I want to see. A talented team, I want to see, are they balanced? And I think when you look defensively, they got dudes at all 3 levels. I like Sharif Floyd, too, at his development. Keep an eye on him.
Sharif Floyd, Linval Joseph, they are talented.
Linval Joseph's already there. He's a stud.
Absolutely. Everson Griffin, they are talented on that defense side of the ball.
All right, let's move on. That's your 5th team here. Number 4, a team obviously coming off of a Super Bowl. I know they've had some losses there, including the quarterback, but the Broncos still in pretty good shape.
Broncos are still in great shape because their defense can kind of carry the weight. When you look at what they've been able to do defensively, they are built the way that you have to play in today's game. They have pass rushers up front that can hunt the quarterback, they can knock him around. You're talking about a team that led the league in defense, really led the league in sacks because they can get after it. Von Miller is really the key to that unit. His speed, his explosiveness, being able to come off the edge, create chaos, allows other guys to eat. And so I know they got to get him re-signed. I'm sure that'll get done. But then on the inside, Derek Wolfe being a guy that is also a nice pass rusher. And so when you have that combination on the outside, then you have a player on the inside, not to mention DeMarcus Ware and Shane Ray and some of the other guys that can hunt.
How about the secondary?
Defense can absolutely get it done. Secondary is what you're looking for. 3 talented corners. Bradley Roby, Chris Harris Jr., Aqib Talib. Then you have T.J. Ward in the middle. That secondary allows you to play man coverage. Wade Phillips keeps the system simple, allow those guys to play fast. They create turnovers. When you got a pass rush and then you have coverage guys, it makes it very, very tough for teams to move the ball.
You look at receivers, too, in pretty good shape there, and they have some depth now at the running back position.
They have depth. I think you got to keep an eye on, obviously, a rookie. We're not talking about those guys. Devontae Booker. You have C.J. Anderson. Take the pressure off the young quarterback.
All right, number 3, the team they played in the Super Bowl, the Carolina Panthers.
The Carolina Panthers are right there. And look, this is a team that I took shots at all year, but when you go back and assess the development of their team and their players, you have to be impressed with. And the guy that is most impressive, Cam Newton. Cam Newton going from a guy that we were on it, could he be the franchise quarterback, to being the league MVP. We've seen so much growth in his game in terms as a playmaker, not only as a runner, but as a passer, being able to really elevate the level of that offense with his playmaking ability. I believe he continues to grow, continues to shine. When they get Kelvin Benjamin back, I think we'll see Cam even play better in this 2016.
That was a tough referee, by the way. Took a big shot there on that run for Cam Newton.
Absolutely.
Hats off to him. Look, you lose a corner there to the Washington Redskins and Josh Norman, but you still think they belong up there.
They still belong up there because you got that terrific tandem on defense in Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis. These guys control the middle of the field. They run and hit people in the hole. They also had the ability to make plays in coverage. When you watch them play, particularly in the playoffs, these guys were always around the ball. Sean McDermott and their assistant head coach, Steve Wilkes, do a great job of coordinating that defense. I believe this team is going to continue to get better. And look, we saw the guy up front, K'Wan Short, Star Lotulelei, a lot of talent on that defense.
Yeah, done a nice job with Shaq Thompson, the rookie last year as well. All right, number 2 on your list. Probably not a surprise. One of the most talented teams, in my opinion, no question, and that resides there in the AFC North.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers have the best set of triplets in the National Football League, meaning quarterback, running back, wide receiver. There's not another triumvirate that can match those guys. How about
Nice
that?
word.
Throw that in there. Big Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, those guys are able to get it done. Big Ben is playing the best football that we've seen of his career. He is a guy that has grown from being a guy that kind of did it off the cuff to now being more disciplined in the pocket. There you see Lev Bell, a talented player, a guy that can really chew it up not only as a runner but as a receiver. And then you have Antonio Brown, who can do it in every way, shape, or form, catching it outside, taking it down the field, catch and run, outstanding playmaker. On their offensive line, they deserve to be in there, but they have a young, emerging defense that's also going to give people problems.
They didn't give you any of those gimme classes at North Carolina, Bucky. That's all I know. Some other people that got off on those gimme classes. Not Bucky. Bucky took the real ones.
I took a couple classes.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, number 1 on your list. Again, I think you probably got this one right here, Bucky. This is a very, very gifted team up in the Northwest.
The Seattle Seahawks. And the Seattle Seahawks are a team that will have to do it in a different fashion this year because you lose beast mode. You lose Marshawn Lynch on offense. But last year we saw the growth and emergence of Russell Wilson as a legitimate franchise quarterback, a guy that can put the weight of the offense on his back. I believe he continues to grow. And as he gets more comfortable and as they tailor-make this system to allow him to become the passer that I saw at NC State and also at Wisconsin, we will see that game become more pass-centric in their approach. Jimmy Graham has to come back, and they'll figure out a way to put him in. Doug Baldwin emerged as a big-time talent, having 13 touchdowns last year. This offense will get it done, but it's always the defense that kind of carries the water.
Yeah, Seattle's, man, think about all the players that they've lost, and they just continue to keep rolling. Hats off to your former friend there.
Yeah, John Snyder, they've done a great job, and I think when you look at their team, it's easy to point to the front seven, but it's always about the LOB, the Legion of Boom. Their safeties and their cornerback, Richard Sherman, they're able to lock people down. They play a simple defense. They play cover 3 or a simple man concept, but they're able to do it, and I think that speaks volume about the talent because they don't have to trick you. They just line up, hit you in the mouth, and they're able to do it. And they've been able to do it the last 4 years. Speaks volumes about the depth and talent they have up there on their roster.
2 things quick on the Seahawks. Rob Ryan, not a fan of that defense. Number 1. Number 2 is I've been reading a little bit about Russell Wilson spending all the offseason, a lot of the offseason with Pete Carroll, and Pete Carroll going over defenses and letting him learn the league from a defensive perspective. I think that's brilliant.
I think that's fascinating, but I think it's also the same thing that Bill Belichick has been able to do with Tom Brady. When you can break down the defense so the offense, and particularly the quarterback, can understand it, he now understands how to attack it, and it's different coming from a defensive standpoint as opposed to an offensive standpoint.
All right, so I didn't have any major issues here with your list, although I have one team that I think's knocking on the door. Yes. I want to say you don't have this team in your top 10.
No, I don't have them in my top 10.
They're
close.
I'm talking about the Oakland Raiders.
I mean, look, the Oakland Raiders
can fall in line. This is a team that's on the rise.
They can fall in line with the New England Patriots and the Green Bay Packers and all their fans who have been hitting me up because I don't have them in the top 10. But understand, the premise is about the blue-chip players. Do you have 8 to 10? And when I look at their depth chart, I'm looking and I'm counting up.
Can I give you some names?
You can give me some names.
Okay. Amari Cooper is just probably outside that.
Just outside. Red. Outside. I got a question mark by him.
Gabe Jackson, to me, is a blue chip
I got
player.
Him one.
Rodney Hudson's a blue chip player.
Okay, we'll give him
He's
2.
one of the top 5 centers in the league, no
2.
question. Kelechi Osemele is a
3.
guard. That's 3. So that's 3 offensive linemen. That's pretty
3.
good. You've got a quarterback that's just outside.
He's a red, probably.
Just outside. You've got Khalil Mack is a blue.
There.
You've got Mario Edwards, who's ascending to be a blue.
Yeah, red. So they're right there. I mean, they're right there.
Sean Smith, a red.
Yeah.
Bruce Irvin, a red.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're right there. They're right there.
That's all I'm saying.
And then I'm saying Seabass. I gave
Seabass.
I gave him a blue.
Thank you.
I gave him a blue. But so
how many blues did you just count up? You got to count.
So we got 1, 2, 3, We have Khalil Mack as 4, and then we have a bunch of reds. Like, that's the thing. They're right there. And so the same thing with the New England Patriots and the Green Bay Packers. Those are teams that are really buoyed by their red players because in other systems, I don't know if a Julian Edelman would be a guy that we would consider a top 10 talent. If he played in Cincinnati, would his impact be the same? And so I think when we're talking about talent and as we're evaluating them for your team, like, yeah, it's system dependent, but these guys that we're talking about, blue chippers, they're guys that are transcendent stars that no matter where we dropped them and placed them, they would still have a level of impact and modicum of success.
We had a grade in Baltimore when I was there, and to me it was I think it was 7.5 was the grade for on the pro scale, which was a Pro Bowl player.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had 2 grades. One was a 7.3, which was an ascending Pro Bowl player.
Yes.
So you would look around the league and see the team that had all these 7.3 grades. Okay, maybe not today. But a year from now, this team is coming. Look at all the 7.3 grades they have. We had a 7.2 grade, which means he was descending Pro Bowl player. So once upon a time, he was a 7.5. He was a Pro Bowler. Now he's kind of coming down a little bit.
So to me, a 7.2 would be a guy like a DeMarcus Ware.
Yes.
He's no longer at the top of his
That's
game.
7.2.
He's coming back to the pack. He's still
Terrell
has those
Suggs
flashes.
is probably
those guys are that. And so I think as we continue to delve into it on the podcast, the Move to Six podcast, we talk about how we're always evaluating our own guys. This is just another way of evaluating our players.
All right, good job, Bucky. You did it. You write a good enough article to get me to come in studio to talk about it. That's off to you, my friend. All right, if you've missed the Move the Sticks podcast, we've been off for a while, but we do have a new episode. You can check that out at NFL.com/podcast, as well as YouTube.com/NFL and iTunes for all your Move the Sticks needs.